Alright, I'm back. What I did is I got to thinking about it a little bit, and I actually tested the switches on the bottom, these 3 points right here and here, and I couldn't find any shorts. I checked them all the way down. Sorry, I've got the paper underneath this board so that the runs on the back of the board and the solder joints won't protrude and hit the end of the steel and short out. So, but to get back to where I was at, what I did is I went ahead and plugged it in because I've been down this road before on this unit, and it seems like it's either got a bad solder joint in here. I've tried flexing them, I've tried doing other things, and for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to work. But if I disconnect this board right here, plug it back in and put it back in the unit, it wants to start working. So what I did is this time, instead of screwing everything down, I just laid it on top. And so now I'm going to check all the knobs for you. And there's 9. So it's working. I went backwards there. And the carry is working fine. I forgot what the borrow is working fine. So I just went all the way through it. And this is 5 over here, the one that was giving me problems for a while, and it's working flawlessly now since I cleaned up the contacts on it. And that one's working. And this is number 2. This is the one that wasn't working at all before. And it's working beautifully. So there's 10 volts right there. If I hook up the meter, it'll actually read 10 volts. I'm not going to bother to do that. And here's the, if I take way down here to, what is it, millivolts, 10 microvolts, and hit backwards, this should go to 0. These should all go to 9s if the borrow is working fine. And it does. So everything seems to be working now, with one exception, and that is the 100 milliamp scale doesn't seem to be working. I thought it was kind of funny that they built this and they have milliamp, millivolt, but they don't have anything for volt, and they don't have anything for 100 volt, or I should say 10 volt and 100 volt, but they have something for the 1000 volt. When it's not working, it spells out error. Let me cover this up a little bit here. And this is normal. You should be reading that if you don't have the 1000 volt option. And the 1000 volt option actually goes right here where my finger is pointing. There's a module that mounts in there, and I don't have it. So if you don't have that module, it's supposed to read error. So let's get back out of that. All right. One of the other problems I have with this unit is the 100 millivolt range doesn't work. So I'm going to leave it like this, except I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to hook up my meter to it and see if I get anything working on the 100 millivolt range. So let's go ahead and turn the unit on and see what we get, and see if anything moves. All right, this seems to be working. It's counting. And when I turned it on, I did hear the 100 millivolt relay kick in. All right, so let's go up here and then take that to 0. So let's go up here to the 1 millivolt range and see if we get anything in here. Nothing there. So let's try the 10 millivolt, and we'll just keep going up. And so I'm at 100 millivolts. Nothing is coming out of this unit. Nothing at all, which is really odd, but oh well. Nothing's coming out. If there is something coming out, it might be AC. Let's look and see if it's AC. It's not supposed to be. Whoa, that's jumping all over the place. That's 100 millivolts AC, a little bit over that. Alright, I went ahead and hooked up an oscilloscope to it because it was acting funny. and this is what's going on. It's jumping all over the place. Oh, down there it goes. So it's acting really screwy in the 100 millivolt range right here. And so I'm going to have to play with that and figure out what the problem is. Alright guys, I'm back. I went ahead and figured out, thanks to one of my viewers there. Sorry, I've got a cold and not feeling too good, but I wanted to get this up. It's been about a week since I've put up another video. And he said, and two other people actually said, that the 100 millivolt comes in on the back, not on the front. And they mentioned it, that it was in the manual, and I had dug around in the manual and I saw where it alluded to there was an output on the back, but it didn't say it was exclusive. So after rereading it a couple times, it does say it comes out the back, but it doesn't say it's only out the back. I was under the impression it was available at the front and the back, just like the main voltages are here for milliamps, 10 volt, excuse me, 100 volt and 1000 volt. That says it's available on both, where the 100 milliamp just basically said it was on the back. It's a little confusing too, because it doesn't say that it's variable. It just says 100 millivolt full scale available at the back. So what they mean by full scale is full variable scale. So what I decided to do was I was using my schematic here, and I've redrawn this schematic a little bit, just briefly. Let me kind of show you what I've done with it. I went ahead and I put the chip in here so I know what's in the chips, and I did the other one for over here, which is this chip here. Kind of relabeled them a little bit to match this, and I also drew in a basically a relay key right here. Hold on a second, this isn't my up-to-date one. Let me get my up-to-date one. Okay, here's the up-to-date one. What I mean by up-to-date is I noticed that all the relays in the schematic were shown in the off position, not in the power on position. When you go to the power on position, they're right here. In the original schematic, this right here has an H, almost like a big microvolt or something instead of milliamp. So I changed that. If you go to this schematic down here, you'll see that it actually says milliamp, not milli H or whatever it is. So I've corrected the schematic there. And then I went ahead and I unplugged the back, and I took all the screws out of the cover. And to access the cover where all the relays are, you can just pull this paper back. This paper right here fits under here. And you can just pull this back. Pull it back, yeah, again. And it's kind of nice because they took everything and they made them so that they were covered up for safety reasons, which was nice for the maintenance technician. This is your GPIB card right here, and then once you get all the screws out, you'll have access to this cover right here. And this cover is kind of a shield and a heat stabilization thing. And here's all your calibration pots and everything in here. So you have to pull those off. Oh, one more thing. You've got these that are sitting right here, and they go in here. So you have to pull those up and set them aside on both the front and the side over here. And then you can pull this out right here. And then you have access to the board and everything. And the way I figured out the key is, other than looking at the schematic, trying to figure it out, I actually decided to go ahead and power it on and just see what the relays did when I went ahead and used the mode switch. So I'm going to actually show you guys that, because I thought it was kind of neat. So kind of silly, but kind of neat. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so we turned on, and notice I don't have that one element right here. For whatever reason, I put it back in and it started working. And I just left it at that. Either it was an intermittent cable right here, or maybe the processor got hung up. I don't know. It's done it to me a couple times when I've taken the display board out. So anyways, that's let's go ahead and look at these different ranges. I'm going to go ahead and go to the milliamp range here. And by the way, when the relay is pointed towards the side or towards the inside of the board, that relay's on. So right now K2, which is right here, K2 is off, K1 is on, and K3 is off, and that's in 100 milliamp. So if we go to 100 millivolts, K3 kicks on, K1 and 2 shut off. So let's go to 10 volts. Notice there's no light. That's how I thought that was kind of weird. Mentioned that in one of the other videos. And 2 comes on, and 1 and 3 go off. Let me flip it again so you can see it work. Oh, I'm sorry. 10 volt, all of them go off. And then it's the 100 volts that number 2 comes on. So the next thing I did was to go ahead and connect up a cord right here. And I'm going to go back down to the millivolt range, because that was the range I was having the problems with the whole time. Before, thinking it was supposed to come out the front, and it didn't. All you get out the front right here is just some really nasty 60 hertz AC. That's it. It's like just line voltage running through the system and bleeding through the ground, etc. So anyways, I went ahead and I fired up my 8840 millimeter multimeter, sorry, and you go ahead and you go to positive right here, and now you can have access to your millivolts. So let's see what we get here. All right, that's 0. Sorry, oh, sorry, that's 0. Maybe I should back off like this. Here we go. So there's 0. There's 1, 2, 3. So it's actually working. 4. And if you'll notice, I actually put it on the scope too. Now the scope is kind of noisy right here, and it gets kind of crazy like this. So what I decided to do was go ahead and on the TDS 620 Bravo here, go ahead and hit and acquire menu. It brings up this menu. Then you can go down and hit your average, and you can change your average to say like 16 and hit enter, and it'll quiet that noise down quite a bit. The other thing I did is I went ahead and hit measure, and then while I was in measure, I went through and I found the high, and I selected high, and I ended up with an average voltage right here. So you can also go to the vertical menu, select ground right here, move your cursor down to a gradical, and I just chose this one right here on the bottom, just above the letters, or the not the letters, the script on the bottom down here. Then you can go back to DC, and as long as you have that acquire shift acquire menu set at something a little higher, you won't have to deal with all the noise. For instance, I think if you just go straight to sample, all that noise is all over the place. So you want this, you want it to average out and see what everything is. You can even go higher if you want. Like you can go like 36, enter, and it'll calm down even a little bit more, and your voltage millivolt reading will be a little bit closer. That's if you wanted to use your scope just to look at the signal and see what's going on. These are unshielded and everything, so it's going to be a little noisy there. So you can see I've got 3959. So either this is out of calibration or this is out of calibration, and I would venture to probably say that this one's, well, maybe all of them are out of calibration. The oscilloscope was actually calibrated, but that was about 5 years ago, and it's out of cal now. So I don't, besides, you don't necessarily use an oscilloscope to to check millivolts and stuff. But anyways, I just thought it was interesting, so I threw it up there. So I decided to go ahead and go through the different ranges and for the millivolt range and see what I actually could get up here on my Fluke 8840. and everything seems to be working fairly well on it. Other than, you know, it needs to be calibrated, or this one needs to be calibrated, or both. So it does actually change fairly consistently. It's not 100% linear. I don't know if it's this or that one. And the cat's coming over. He's talking to me, or she is, saying, "Feed me." So you can see it's a little bit off right up in here. So just out of curiosity, I wanted to see how far I could go and see if it would work the full range. And it actually did. It worked full range. So everything on it is working. And there's your 100. And then the 100 will actually go a little bit higher on the voltage. Now the milliamps won't. It's 100 milliamps max, and that's it. And this, if you actually read the manual, it will give you a max. And that's your max right there. That's your 10 volt max, your 100 volt max, and your 100 millivolt max. So there it is. It's actually working. The only thing really left to do is, other than put it back together, is calibrate it. And I don't have the equipment here to calibrate it, so I might be able to calibrate it at work. They usually don't mind as long as you don't damage their equipment. And in some cases they actually kind of encourage it, because the more you play around with electronics, the better you get at it, I guess. I don't know. They don't really seem to care. They're really liberal at work and with their equipment and stuff, but it's really nice. I mean, there's a good bunch of guys, good boss and everything, and I love working there. I could make money working for somebody else, but they're so easy to work for and such, you know, good folks, that I think I'll just stay there. So anyways, thanks for watching in the video, and I hope that helped you a little bit. Maybe I'll do one later on, you know, the innards of everything in the schematic up in here. I don't know, we'll have to see. This is the K3 up here. Let's come up here and look. So it comes from right here, goes up to here. When K3's on, this is your return, or your ground. So that's pin 3. Oddly enough, the pins go 1, 2, and 3, or I'm sorry, 1, 2, and 3. They go counterclockwise, and number 1's on the top on the actual back. And your output here comes from here. It goes up to here, all the way up to here, and then goes over here. With K2 de-energized, it comes over here, straight out of here. And if you go to the 100 volt range, K3 de-energizes, and the path actually comes up through this way, and you get your 100 volts through here, based on your between your 130 and your minus 130, and your op amp right here will drive it. This is basically a big op amp. So, well, anyways, again, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the short series. There wasn't a whole lot of repair going on. It seemed like my biggest problem was a couple of switches in here that were all messed up, and I had an intermittent either processor or cable, and I've wiggled them and jiggled them, and I can't get it to break or give them any more problems. So other than Cal, it's fixed. So drop me a comment or any lines, or if you want me to probe something for you on it and give you a reading, I can do that for you. If you have one and you're having a problem, since I know this one's working now, I can do that for you. So God bless y'all, and Keith Nunn you out. Bye.